Welcome back, everybody. Derrick Sue, your East Oakland advocate. Well, today I'm going to speak on the SoCal fires and also some solutions that are going to be very necessary in the upcoming days, weeks, months, and even years to house all of these people who were devastated in the SoCal fires and in California firestorms in general, because what I'm going to talk about is in the aftermath. How are we going to house everybody? How's everybody going to be able to stay in the area and be housed and be safe? Well, uh, I've been suggesting the cruise ship uh, solution for a number of years, since actually 2017, and even back further than that, going all the way back to the Loma Prieta earthquake. And that's when this model first came about. And it housed nearly 2,000 San Francisco residents who were displaced by the earthquake, the Loma Prieta earthquake, in the Tenderloin. And so a ship happened to be in the port of San Francisco, which was because of Navy Fleet Week. And they loaned the city of San Francisco a troop transport carrier. And so using that as the origins of this particular model, uh, there are plenty of cruise ships that can be utilized that are semi-retired. These are the older ships, not the new uh, first first run vessels that are the super vessels. These are going back about 1999, so they're not barely halfway through, not even halfway through their life cycle. They're about a quarter of the way through their life cycles, and they're being um, offloaded, so to speak. They're being sold on the open market. And these are opportunities to capitalize on these cruise ships that are perfectly seaworthy and have very few problems. And so these are floating cities that can be brought in and used to house the folks, to not only house the folks, but also uh, because these are cruise ships, they have medical facilities. And so medical facilities can be readily available. FEMA attention and a one-stop shop essentially can be had utilizing my cruise ship model that I've been pushing here in the city of Oakland. And we have also on board, there are morgue services, policing services, but this sets up an opportunity to house families that have been devastated by the Southern California fires. And this is housing. This is temporary housing, long-term temporary housing that is completely affordable and maintainable and sustainable. So what we're talking about are cruise ships that a lot of the touring industry worldwide are now scrapping, and they're selling them for pennies and dimes on the dollar. And because they're moving to newer, supersized cruise ships. And so that leaves a lot of opportunities for the previous cruise ships. And number one, that this is an efficient model that is already created, and all we have to do is just a few modifications, and each of those ships can house approximately 2,200 families each. Also supply emergency medical facilities, medical emergency services, policing services, uh, FEMA services, uh, just about everything all in one place. And they don't have to go anywhere. Insurance companies can be contacted, and they can also be set up for their clients to file claims. So this model works very well. And probably you're probably saying, well, where could it possibly be used? Well, here in Southern California, you have the Queen Mary, and in that area, there's some room that can be utilized to bring in those cruise ships. And after the disaster is over, these are also uh, resources that could be used to house and deal with the homeless situation in Los Angeles. So again, it has many purposes, but the FEMA element was one of the biggest and most important elements of the project that I brought to city of Oakland. And right now, the city of Oakland and most cities are saying, no, we don't want to look at anything like that because we don't want anything permanent. But this is a crisis situation in Southern California, and you have thousands, tens of thousands of families that are now devastated and are homeless and struggling to find shelter, whether with friends, family, or even out of state. These are businesses that are devastated and lost. And this is a way that we can temporarily put in place so that uh, it it lessens the the devastation that has occurred in Southern California. This is a very flexible program. Uh, in my program here in Oakland, 10% of all the cabins available on all the ships would be available to FEMA for purchase, so that FEMA can actually purchase and own these properties, these cabins on board these ships in the need when it arises. They can fill these cabins with families looking for shelter and in desperate need of shelters. But also, it allows them, because they own these, they can also sell these to the families for long-term housing so that they can stay put in the area. They may have some uh, some things that keep them tied to this area, such as family, businesses, work, and even just like myself, longevity. And that allows them to stay in the area and work through the devastation. It gives them time. It provides stability for those families so that they can be reached. Their mail can follow them on board those cruise ships, and services can reach them, find them, locate them without having to do what cities and counties are doing to the homeless, which is they get them on services, and as soon as they get them on services, they kick them out on the street, and then they lose track of them. And unfortunately, those families lose their housing opportunities. But with this particular model, that does not happen. So consider it, Los Angeles and Southern California, and especially here in the Bay Area, because this would have been extremely helpful for those that were affected in the wine country fires that we had just a few years ago. And it would have been able to house lots, thousands, tens of thousands of families, kept them stable and in the region so that we don't lose the family tax dollars uh, if they move out of the area. So consider the cruise ship model program that I've been presenting, and um, think about the savings of lives, the savings of money, the cost, uh, and the housing benefits to the community. And this can be duplicatable to any city that has access to an ocean, the West Coast, East Coast, Gulf of Mexico, Florida states. All of these areas are coastal regions, and these are places that can host and birth this particular cruise ship housing model. Thanks for joining me today. We'll be right back.